to another heartfelt episode of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. I'm Crystal, your host, joined by my co-host, Tasha. Today we're diving into navigating the emotions of grief with our special guest, LaShonda Edwards. Join us for an authentic conversation of feelings, personal narratives, and the strength that emerges when we embrace grief's roller coaster. So get cozy, grab your favorite drink, and let's embark on this profound journey of understanding, healing, and resilience together. Thanks for tuning in to episode 6 of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, how are you?
All is well. LaShonda, I did that by mistake. Let me take you back off.
Okay.
Tasha, are you here? Can you hear me? I'm having an issue with Tasha. So, welcome to the gift of grief. We're all over the place tonight, but we're live, and we thank you for tuning in with us. Tonight, we're going to be discussing navigating the emotions of grief. We have a special guest, she just popped on a minute ago, but LaShonda Edwards, she's getting ready to come back on screen. She's the owner of Legacy Libations. She has so many other companies under her belt, too many for me to name, so I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself. She's my sis. She's my friend. I love her immensely. Tasha, are you ready? Don't know what Tasha got going on, but that's my co-host. She trying to
Good
get it
evening,
together,
good evening, good
y'all.
evening, everyone.
There she go. There she go. Hey, Tasha girl. Tasha went bye-bye. So we're going to bring on LaShonda back on in here.
Hey.
Hey, LaShonda girl.
Hey, how are you, Chris?
All is well. Thank you for coming on here tonight and being with us.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Hopefully Tasha chimes back in shortly. I know she's on the road. She had to take her son downtown, so she's trying to head back home. So we're just thankful to have you. And I mentioned a little bit about Legacy Libations, which I always have a bottle, 2 or 3 in my house.
So I appreciate
y'all some.
Thank you.
Get y'all some. But I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit about herself while she's on.
Okay, well, I am LaShonda Edwards. I am the owner and founder of Legacy Libations Wine Company. We started Legacy Libations about, I want to say we're about 3 years old now. So we brew all of our wines. We have our own website. I am mentored by one of the top vendors in the state, and I'm really, really proud of that. I have a couple different certifications under my belt, but that's another story for another day.
see, that's why I told y'all she got so many businesses. I'm gonna let her tell you herself, honey, because she own and popping.
I appreciate that.
She own and popping.
I do.
An amazing businesswoman. Amazing businesswoman.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Tasha. Okay.
Like she's jumping in and out.
Yeah, she's jumping in and out. So we're going to go ahead and continue. We always start with an icebreaker. Okay. This is episode 6. And most importantly, I really want to thank our viewers for tuning in and rocking and rolling with us. If it wasn't for you all, we wouldn't be able to continue with this 6th episode. So thank you so much. We appreciate you all. And thank you for letting us in your homes, in your cars, or wherever to guide you on your healing journeys with grief. So, icebreaker.
Okay.
If you had a theme song, a life theme song that played whenever you entered the room, what song would it be and why?
A life theme song for this season in my life, I would have to say India Arie's Private Party. I think that's just where I am in this season of my life. just kind of learning how to love me, learning how to navigate through certain spaces, and in all honesty, at this point, I'm just like invite only. Like
All
that's
right
just
now.
that's just kind of where I am. That's just kind of where I am. But like, so I think that'll be an ideal life song for me in this season. Yep, India
Okay.
Irie, private party.
Okay. So I've really been pondering on this
Mhm.
question all day.
Mhm.
I'm kind of all over the place with this question. And
Mhm.
for me, it's more of I'm leaning towards the gospel side. I don't look like what I've been through. I think at this moment, God has graced me with so much peace that nobody could imagine my journey through my whole life and through the last few years
That's a
with the
blessing.
loss of so many. So
Mhm.
I think that's where I am right now.
That's a
Right
blessing.
now. And
That's
then
definitely a blessing.
like Lotto say, to my man, thank you to my man. So God is
I
my
know
man.
that's right.
God is my man because he sure kept me.
I know that's right.
He kept me. He definitely
Definitely a
kept me.
blessing.
And I definitely don't look like what I've been through in
Mhm.
these last
Mhm.
past years.
That's
Okay.
amazing. That's amazing.
So we go. What else you got for you? Wanted to say something else before we dive into this conversation?
Nah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go get
So
into the meat of it.
share with us your losses so that we can kind of pair the losses to the questions.
Okay. Okay. Um, in 2016, I lost my mom unexpectedly. Um, Completely, like a lot of people say unexpectedly, but this was excuse me, this was unexpected. My mother wasn't sick. She didn't have any type of ailments. I had talked to her all day the day before. So it was just kind of like she went to sleep and just didn't wake up. Um Even to this day, we still have uh no cause of death, no reason. It's just like pending. So that happened in 2016. And again, unexpectedly, December of last year, I suddenly lost my baby brother. Uh, so yeah,
Okay.
those are the two most profound losses I can say that I've experienced. Um,
Okay.
that affect me actually daily. But yeah.
Okay. So from there, I'm trying to mute her mic. I can't
Mhm.
mute her mic. So from there, so we're going to start off with our first question.
Okay.
Um, when it comes to grief,
Hmm.
what is the feeling that often comes up with you? And you can answer it separately for each different person, or you can answer it as a whole rounded answer.
Hmm. Um, I'm sorry, wait, something just happened. Okay, there we go.
That's okay.
Um, the feeling that typically comes up, and I guess it's different. Um, for each loss. With my mom, it's more of um the feelings that come up with her is more like just like an intense feeling of just like sadness, because it's like I'm just really, really sad that it happened because I feel like we had so much more to do. My mom was not an old woman, when she was 56 when she passed away. So um
Mm.
it's just like an extreme sense of sadness with her because like I said, I feel like um we had so much to do. We had so much to talk about. It was so many things I wanted her to see, so many things I wanted her to experience because she spent most of her life taking care of us. So I'm like, now I'm at a point where I can take her on vacations. I can really take care of her how I want to, and then this is kind of what happens. So with her, it's just a really strong sense of sadness when I think about her. My brother, I'm always conflicted with him. Um, it's more anger, I've been praying
Mm.
about it. God knows I haven't. I've been trying to make sense of it all. But when I think about my brother, it's more like a sense of anger that comes up when I when I kind of reflect on his death and how it happened. why it happened, because in my mind it just didn't have to happen that way. And I think a lot of times I'm angry at him because it didn't have to. In my mind, it didn't have to happen that way. So
Okay.
it's two different feelings.
Definitely understandable. Definitely understandable. For me, like you said, sadness. I noticed as of late, because I am a new grandmother, I get sad a lot because I feel like my mom and my grandmother should be here, because I had my mama, my grandmother, and my great grandmother pretty much my whole life. So
Okay.
my kids had their grandmother, great grandmother, and great great grandmother.
See.
So now I'm going through the motions of, Mama, you should be here.
You should be here. Yeah.
Mama, I need to call you.
Exactly. I get it.
And I came across this post today on social media. It was like, if something happens, I call my mama. If I get good news, I call my mama. If I need to celebrate, I call my mama. What do I do now?
Yeah.
You can't call your mom. So it's a very empty feeling sometimes. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. She served her purpose here. She left me with the tools that I needed to have to continue to go forward, to be a great mom and a great grandmother. So I'm blessed in that measure. So the next question, we'll skip that. I want to bring something up different. Shakari Richardson, you know, the track star.
Yes. Yes, we know Shakari, my girl.
So, you know, when everybody kind of turned against her, what was that, last year or year before last?
I think it was year before last.
When her biological mom passed and she used weed as a coping mechanism. How do you feel about that?
I try not to try to judge, you know, the way people kind of how they deal and cope with grief. Because if I be 100% transparent, I mean, when my mom passed away, I found myself drinking a lot. You know, like that was the way I had to go to sleep. You know, I couldn't sleep unless I had a drink. So I get it. I totally get it. So again, like I say, I try to like not judge, you know, the way people tend to cope with their grief and sadness. And losing a mom, I guess I can 100% understand where she's coming from. So I don't blame her. I'm just being honest. I don't blame her. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do in order to get through, because you have those days where it's like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, how am I supposed to even wrap my brain around what just happened to me? So I don't blame her. I honestly I don't.
And you know, so when everybody was going against, oh, how could she mess this up? She this, she that. It's not that serious. Girl, people, it's that serious. Because until you sat on that road, you don't know that feel. That's a whole different it's
animal.
Unexplainable what type of feeling that is.
Absolutely.
So if she had to smoke weed, go ahead and do what you need to do. Because you better be glad the girl wasn't on crack.
You better be glad that's all she did. That I'm telling you.
Because it's something. And I talked about it last week, how I blew a lot of money on alcohol. I was drinking daily. I blew a lot of money at the strip club. That's what I wanted to do. And that's what I needed to do to cope. It took my mind off of what I was dealing with. And for her to be young, now I'm 39 years old, losing my mom. She in her 20s. She's in her 20s. Come on, y'all. Like, are we really gonna nail her to the cross because she lost her biological mom? And I don't care if they had a relationship or not. That's still the woman that birthed her. And there is a connection that nobody can explain.
That's right.
When that happens.
That's right.
When that happens. I don't pass judgment on her. But I think everybody who jumped back on the bandwagon because she won, if y'all wasn't on the bandwagon when she did it, get up off of it.
Get up off of it, because now everybody is singing her praises. Like you said, they was nailing her to the cross 2 years ago. Now she is the best thing smoking. So
that's an example of conditional celebrators. If
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
conditional celebrators.
Conditional
You
acceptance.
celebrate me
Absolutely.
when I'm at my highs, but when I'm at my lows, you're nowhere to be found,
Nowhere to
and you're
be
talking
found.
about me,
That's
and
right.
you're talking about me.
That's
So
people.
I gave her a pass on that. Girl, do what you need to
I
do.
did too. I
To
did
give her,
too. I
do
told
what
I
you need to do.
do what you have to do to get through. Because you, like I said, you have those days where it's like you don't know what to do and you just want to just check out for a minute.
Absolutely.
And that's what you
Definitely.
have to do to get through it. So I don't blame you.
Definitely.
Fire up, baby, because that's
Definitely.
what you had to do.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to our next question.
Mm-hmm.
How how does grief allow you to see yourself in this moment?
Um, to see myself. Um, a lot of times, grief it um it kind of masks who I really am because
Mm,
in moments where I am grieving really hard or like I'm having just like a really bad moment, a really bad day, a lot of times I don't even recognize myself because I never knew I never knew that bubbly shine, the outgoing person, the personality that I have, I never knew that I could be this sad. I didn't think it was possible. Like I didn't think it was possible. So grief sometimes it causes me to lose who I am. It makes me not even be able to recognize me sometimes. And that's the part of it I think that sucks the most. Because if I stay in it too long, I'll get nervous about am I ever going to be able to get back to, if I am I going to ever be able to get back to shine who I really really am, because this thing get heavy. It gets heavy sometimes. So yeah.
it definitely gets heavy, and I think with much grief counseling,
Mm-hmm.
mental health therapy, much prayer,
Mm-hmm.
much quiet time, I think healing comes.
Mm-hmm.
No. Let me take that back. I don't think healing comes. I know healing comes.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to say that it won't hurt again, because it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
always hurt, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a void that's missing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still questions that we have, and we're dealing with these emotional things that we've never experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
But there is help, and you and I both, we attended
Yes.
Grief Share. Grief
Mm-hmm.
Share was an
Absolutely.
amazing,
Grief share was an
amazing
amazing
program.
experience. Yes.
It's an amazing experience, and I
Mm-hmm.
do tell people to get into Grief Share. I mean, if you need help and you don't know where to turn, uh, and religiously, I, I don't want to say religiously, spiritually. I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
spiritually. I'm
Right.
not gonna
Mm-hmm.
say religiously. I'm gonna take that off the board. Spiritually, that's a great place for you to be,
I
and
agree.
you can feel the love in the room, the
Yes.
presence of God,
Yes.
such caring people, especially if you
Oh my
get with the
God.
correct group.
Yes. Yeah, I
There
agree.
you can find relationship, sisterhood, brotherhood. You can find what you need in that group.
I agree.
And those are people that you will become connected to pretty much forever
Mm-hmm.
if you're
Mm-hmm.
open. If you're
If you're
open.
open. Exactly.
If you're open. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to be open,
Mm-hmm.
because grief is a vulnerable place.
It is. It
So you
really is.
definitely have to be open to
Mm-hmm.
letting somebody in. Um, and like you were saying, like I was just saying, mental health therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Girl, that was days, and it's still days. Like I don't know if I'm coming or going,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but mental health therapy for me really
It
helped
really
me.
helped. Okay.
It
Okay.
really helped. And I stumbled across a life coach.
Wow.
So all of that and one, like that helps me see the other side of it.
Okay.
And doing the work to understand what grief is, the process of it, how to cope with it.
Okay.
And knowing that it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if it don't be okay, it's still okay.
It's still okay
to not be okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think those are areas that I just kind of need to delve more into. Like I said, grief share was an amazing experience for me, but it was heavy because, like I said, I don't think I really had actually dealt with my mom's death up until I went to grief share a few months ago. And it's like, just to have all of those feelings come to the surface, and I felt super supported, everything. But in the midst of me being in grief share is when I lost my nephew while I was in grief share. So in the midst of me talking about past traumas that I've dealt with, I was actually dealing with another one while I was there. It was so heavy. Like it was so heavy for me. So I kind of backed away from that, which I probably shouldn't have. But I just kind of I just felt like I just needed to just kind of back away for a while and kind of gather myself, because it had got really, really heavy for me. But I definitely plan on going back this session for sure. I have to get back. I got to get back.
Absolutely. And I think it's a safe place to be for anybody that's grieving.
I agree.
And I think you should do it over and over and over again.
Lord knows I need to.
Until you feel like you at a place where you can be like, okay, I can do this by myself for a moment. And if you need to go back, turn around and go right back.
Go back again. I agree.
I
agree.
Absolutely. So next question.
Mm-hmm.
How did grief impact you as a businesswoman?
Grief impacted every area of my business. I don't think there's an area of business that I have that grief didn't somehow intertwine itself. From like, because a lot of the ideas that I had, I mean, that has come into fruition now, is things I had talked to my mom about years ago before she passed away. So it's like, anytime when I started Legacy Libations, I started Legacy Libations 2 or 3 times and just completely said, no, forget about it. Nope, forget about it. Because it would always bring up, because I would tell my mom, we're going to do this, and I'm going to do it this way. So anytime I got ready to start, I would always think about her. She's not here to experience this with me. And she told me she was going to help me launch my coming out party. And my mom was going to do the tuna for the, it was like everything was centered around her and what she would be helping me do. So again, I started my businesses a couple of times and I would just let it fall by the wayside, because it would always bring me back to her not being here. So, so grief has definitely impacted me business wise, even to this day. There are days when I'm having bad days. I don't want to engage with my customers. I don't want to take wine orders. I don't want to package this stuff up to ship it. I don't want to renew my corporations. I don't want to pay, it's just days I just don't want to do it. But with me being a 100% entrepreneur, my bills have to be paid. So it's like I almost have to force myself to still do the things that, that have to be done. So sometimes grief has to take the back seat. It's hard, but again, like I said, it's got to be done. But grief is definitely past and present, has affected pretty much every area of my businesses. Definitely. For sure.
I can definitely understand that, because I think I started Countess D Pearl in 2013. In 2016, I had a breast issue.
Okay.
Knocked me off my back. Shut it down. I didn't even realize that grief of health issues was a thing. So I didn't know what I was dealing with. Shut my business down. Turn around 2 years later, 2018. My mom got cancer. No, 2017. We found out she had cancer. Shut my business down again because mentally I just couldn't deal with it.
I get it.
When she 6 months to live in December, they told on Christmas Eve. Wow. Shut my business down again. Because I just couldn't think. And it was days I would lock myself in the room and I would cry. And I would go to work and my friends would be like, I know something is wrong with you. You don't look right. And I never really shared what was going on with me. I just took it and like they say, the problem, sometimes you grieve and you just keep going. That's what I was doing. And masking it at home. When she died, shut my business down again. So it definitely impacts our business as business women. Also, it gets to a point I can recall telling my significant other, I don't know if it was last year or year before. No, it was year before last. I had a conversation with him and I told him, I don't want to do anything. On top of us starting 2-3 businesses together. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here and chill. I want to look ugly on this couch. I don't want to get up. I don't want to be bothered. Did my business suffer? Yes, my business suffered. Because I wasn't putting in the work or the time to do what needed to be done to keep it running. But I feel like that time that I took away and shut down, that was necessary.
Okay.
Because I can't be an effective businesswoman if my mind is somewhere else.
It's somewhere else. I understand that. I can get that.
Definitely. So I definitely I understand where you're coming from when you say it impacts every part of your life when it comes to business.
It does.
And still today, like even yesterday, I had a conversation with one of my friends. He asked me, do your mother ever come visit you? I was like, you know what? I said, she don't come visit me, but in my dreams, we do things together. We go shop, we go eat. So that it took me aback yesterday. Now, this morning I woke up. It was real early. I woke up and because I tossed and turned all last night. When I finally got back to sleep, girl, I had a dream that my mama, my grandmama, and my great grandmother, they all was at my doorbell.
Wow.
Like I had got up out of my body, went downstairs to the door, and they kept calling me. Like, I know you hear me calling you. I know you hear me calling me. And I went to the door like, what do y'all want? They was like, can you tell us how we need to fill out these papers? Now, mind you, last week I had just said that grief had freed me from taking care of people and doing things. But now y'all gonna show up on my doorstep talking about something. Can you show us how? Like, if y'all don't get away from my doorstep. But it tripped me out. It had me tripping all morning. Like, are you serious? On this day, y'all gonna really come by my house?
Wow.
And when I talk to my friend, when he come back from out of town, I'm cussing him out because I think he summons them people to my household.
You done summoned them here.
You done summoned them people to my household. So, girl, that I've been tripping all day off that.
Wow.
So yeah. Have you ever had moments like that?
I do. I have people ask me all the time, like, does your mom come and visit you? And it hadn't happened until my brother passed away. But it wasn't like a physical presence, like her being physically here. It was just a dream that I had. And it was maybe a week after my little brother had passed away. And it was just and I never did really actually look at her face. I'm a person who I'm a hands person. Like if I don't see your face and I see your hands, I don't know exactly who you are. That's just like a weird thing that I have. So it was a dream that I had, and my mom, we were at a park. She was just kind of sitting next to me. I never did look at her face, but I could see her hands. So that's how I knew it was her. And she was just talking, telling me how proud of me she was and everything. And then my little brother just kind of like walked up, and she put her hand on mine, and she was like, "He's okay now." And it's like I kind of looked up, and they were just like kind of walking away. But I never did see their faces. But like I said, I knew it was them, because I would always like wonder, like, is my little brother okay with his crazy self? And but that was like, it was peace for me knowing that he was with my mom, and they were just kind of. So that's like the only experience that I had ever had with something like that. It was more like a dream, not like a physical presence. So
Okay.
that was a
Okay.
good thing for me.
Do you think, are you glad that you had that experience?
I am. It definitely helped. It definitely helped, because I would always wonder, is my mom one place, my brother maybe some. I just wanted to know that she got her baby boy with her, And so just knowing that, I think God knew that I needed that too, because I was I
Mm-hmm.
was I was battling with that. I was battling with it. So I think it was intentional. I think that was definitely God allowed. He allowed that to happen because he knew I needed it. He knew my heart needed that. So
Okay.
I'm grateful
Okay.
for that experience.
That's a blessing. And that's one of the gifts that you unwrapped in
Yep,
grief.
absolutely.
That's
That's
one of the
it.
gifts.
One of the gifts. One of the
That's one
gifts.
of
It
the
was
gifts.
definitely needed. Definitely needed.
And that's what this show is about, is uncovering the many gifts and blessings that we have that come from grief. Everything does not have to be sad or dark and grim. There are blessings. There
Hmm.
are blessings that you can get from grief.
And I think I
Um,
just realized that the question you just asked me and the answer that I gave, that's okay. I got it.
See, now you can sit with that tonight, baby.
Now I can sit with
You,
that tonight. That
you
was
can
that
sit
was
with
one of
that
my
tonight.
gifts. That was one of my gifts. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for
No problem. I'm here for you. Okay, we're gonna go to this next this is a part B question.
that. Okay.
Um oh, she at home now. She
Listen,
done tapped on in. She done
hey y'all.
tapped on in.
It was a stuff, man.
She
Hey.
done tapped on in.
I
Hey
was
Hey,
listening
girl.
on Facebook though. I was on Facebook, chimed in. I was listening and
All
watching.
right now. I'm glad you're here, y'all.
Listen.
Tasha, my co-host, is here, finally in the building.
Hey y'all, hey.
hey,
Hey
girl.
girl. We're actually conversing about how grief
I
impacts us as business women, how it impacts our friendships. So we're getting ready to go into friendships right now.
Hmm.
So our next question is, how has business, girl, that's this. How has grief impacted your relationships and friendships? And do you see them differently now?
I definitely see friendships and relationships differently. Um, Grief, and I guess, like I said, maybe it was because of the way that I was traumatized by the grief of losing my mom and my brother. It has caused me to be more verbal in my friendships. Um, it's it has caused me to like love on my friends and family like a little bit harder than what I did before, because like I said, I felt like with my mom that there was so much more that I could have said and I could have done and I wanted to do, that it's caused me to actually be almost clingy is not the word I want to use, but it's made me a lot more aware of my friendships. It's made me tell my friends and family like I love them more. I how I really truly feel, how I appreciate them. And sometimes I actually go overboard, because I think in the back of my mind I'm always saying like, this may be the last time I get a chance to see her. This may be the last
Mm,
time I may get a chance to see him. So it's made me love on my people a lot harder than I did prior to. So it's definitely changed. It's definitely changed my friendships for sure.
Tasha,
yes, ma'am.
how has grief
Um,
affected your? Can you hear me?
yeah, I hear you. For me,
Okay.
I would say that um it showed me people's true colors. For the ones that said, people find it easy to say, if you need me, call me. I'm here for you. And then when that time comes, in the back of your mind, you don't, well, for me, in the back of my mind, I'm not thinking, okay, well, this person said, if I need them, call them, whatever, whatever, whatever. In the back of my mind, I'm going through what I'm going through with my mom when I lost my granny. Granny passed first, then my mom. And I'm just like, man, I just need relief. I just need a break. I need someone to come and say, hey, you go sit over there in the corner. I'll sit here with your mama. Although she wasn't alert majority of the time, but I'll sit here. And if it's something they need, you right over there. It'll be nothing to wake you up or whatever. People show you them supposed to be friends or acquaintances or whatever. That is a time when they show you their true selves, their true colors. And then when that day come where you have to sit on that front seat, if it's certain ones that you kind of expect to be there, which we shouldn't expect people to be there, because if they know you and they know the relationship that you had with your loved ones, or like in my mom's case, everybody on the west side in the Austin community knew who Mama Shields was. Everybody. But there are certain ones I would have expected to see, and I did not. And that was an eye opener for me. Some of them I didn't get the calls. Hey, I'm sorry for your just that whole aspect. You didn't get the calls, or hey, I'm sorry for your loss. Even a text message or whatever have you. Even a visit. When my mom passed away that day, because my circle was so shut off outside of my church, my kids knew who to call. That was my best friend. Mom, you need us to call? Nope. Because if they ain't been here all this time, what they coming for now? You know what I mean? And then when that day came and it was over with, not a phone call, not even from family members. When I tell you, people show you their true colors, even from family members, not a call. Did my brother call me? No. And that's because he was in his own feelings, because he knew he didn't do what he really should have did to help me. I didn't get no call. He kept up a lot of BS, but I didn't get no calls. My other brothers, I wouldn't have expected them to call because they're ill. Some of the grandchildren. Yeah, no. When I tell you my kids held me down and they walked that thing with me, it was me and my children. It was me and my best friend, me and my church. So it's turned me into like LaShonda said, it makes you love harder on the ones that's with you now, that's walking through it with you now. It makes me love all the more harder, because you don't want to lose the ones that's close to you now. You have that fear of, man, I got to tell you I love you. Hey, how you doing? And sometimes I don't even be wanting to do that, because it's still new for me. So because I'm going through all the first of everything now, listen, child. What That's why that's why I have me a set, because my man I have to tone stuff out sometimes to keep me from spazzing out. I'm a lot I am a lot better, because I'm learning to deal with it and cope with it. And when it hits, I will allow it to hit. I try not to stay in that sunken place, and then I find something to lift my spirits and get out of that and move around. So that's it for me.
Okay. For me, I've been blessed with an amazing circle of friends. Um, Most of my friends, we've been friends. I'll be 45 this year. So we've been friends if not 40 years, 30 something years. And my new friends, everybody has pretty much been around and embraced me when I was grieving. Now, for me, grief has shaped my relationship with my siblings a little different. And I would think because I was the only girl that they would wrap their arms around me, look out for me, because I took care of my grandmother and took care of my mother. But they didn't. They parted ways.
Wow.
They parted ways. So that bothers me. Well, I'm not. Wait a minute. Let me retract that. It used to bother me, but I'm okay with it now. Because as I look back over the years, like we weren't raised together. We don't really have that bond. So it was me expecting too much out of somebody, and I was expecting me from other people. I am me. I am me. I can only expect what they're gonna give me. And they gave me them.
Exactly.
They didn't give me back me.
There you go.
So
there you go.
That's when it comes to relationships. I'm just thankful for my friends, my children. I do believe that grief has brought me and my daughter closer because she was a feisty one, baby. But our relationship, our bond has gotten better. My son was always a mama's boy, so he's always loved on his mama. As far as my significant other, he's been there. He's always there, held my hand through my grandmother, through my best friend, through my sister. So he's been there. So I mean, grief and relationships, I just take it as deal with it how they come. Because we can expect people to want to be, like I said, how we want them to be and do the things that we expect them to do. But some people are not capable of doing that. They don't have the capacity.
They don't have the capacity to do that.
They don't have the capacity to do that.
Because actually, when my mom passed away, I was actually engaged when my mom passed away. He proposed in October, and my mother passed away in November. So we were newly engaged, and we ended up we just ended up parting ways because I believe I think maybe he thought there was like a certain time limit that I should be grieving my mom, because he was ready to celebrate, like celebrate the engagement and start planning the wedding. I lost my mom a month later, and so I wasn't in the headspace to even deal with that. And I think he kind of felt cheated in a sense. You know what I mean? And like, so that it just weighed really, really heavy on our relationship, and we just kind of ended up splitting up because of it. Because I don't want to plan a wedding. My mama not here no more.
My mama not. And so here's what I want to ask you: did he still have his mom?
Yep.
So he definitely could not understand or fathom
not at all.
The trauma, because that was trauma.
Exactly.
Losing your mother is trauma.
Yep. And he couldn't understand it.
I get that. I get that a lot, because you be trying to explain to people what it feels like, or what space you're in, or where you're at mentally, and they just do not get it. They don't get it.
You can't explain
and
it.
I tell somebody asked me one day, what did it feel like when your mom died? And I can recall, I was on the bus. I had just left hospice. Didn't know at that moment, that she was getting ready to transition when I left the hospice. But I had just left hospice, went to work. I got on the bus. I wasn't even on the bus 10 minutes. And they called me. It felt like somebody had choked me. All the air out my body had left. Like I had this headache that was piled. It's like it's a migraine times 10,000. And like somebody had punched me, and I just leaned over, like, what type of pain is this? It's unexplainable.
It's unexplainable.
It's unexplainable. And when you have trauma to that magnitude, how do people expect you to deal with life as everyday normal?
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
Nothing about it is normal, because your mother is what I know my mother was. She was involved in every aspect of my life, from me getting in the car in the morning on my way to work. We video calling all the way to work. When I get there, because my mom used to gossip, girl. She was telling me all the gossip on Facebook. What telling me, because when my mom passed away, I was actually working I was in the funeral industry. I was in the funeral industry for over 15 years, but she would call a funeral home like, girl, look at such page on Facebook. Like, so it's like she was, everything that I did involved my mom. On the way home, we talking, what you cooking for dinner, pick up for church on Sunday. Like, everything involved her. So to go from that to not having her anymore, my life is not the same. So I don't react to people the same anymore. I don't respond to situations the same anymore, because my mama not here. And my mama was not balanced. Like, cause I would pop off. Like, she was the one that was like, she called me fat baby. Now fat baby, look now. You know, I didn't have that anymore. So I was on 10 all the time. Like, because my balance she was gone. So just even trying to navigate that whole space was, it was crazy. It was chaos for me. It was chaos.
You know what you just said, like, your mother was your everything. Y'all used to do everything together. You talked about how on the way to work she would be talking to you. So at that time I was working for CDT, and we all lived in the building together. My mom lived on the first floor, my grandma on the second floor, me and my children on the third floor.
Wow.
I would have, and mind you, when my great grandmother was living, my great grandmother lived on the second floor with my grandmother. Wow. So we had all generations in one building.
That's amazing.
So when I would go to work, I would have to be at work at 3:45 in the morning. My mom would be waiting downstairs in her doorway like this. Just make sure you get in the car.
Make sure you get in the car, right?
I'm like, girl, ain't nobody gonna bother me. They know you crazy. They know you got that piece on you.
Right.
Girl, who finna run up on me? But she would do that. And then when I would get off work, she would call me, what time you come home? She would be in the front, and she would be on the front of the house with her hands on her hips, because she had a candy store. Girl, my mom had a candy store. She sold household products. She sold chicken, Italian, beef, burger. Girl, my mom sold everything.
Wow.
So when I would get off work, she would be on the front of the house waiting with her hands on her hip. You late. It only take you 8 minutes to get home. I need to go get the ice for the kids.
Wow.
But here's the thing. I would love to do all of that over again.
All over again. I miss
just
it
for a day.
So much.
Just give it to me a day.
I miss it so much.
Give it to me a day. And so I don't understand how people go days and weeks without talking to their mom or seeing their mom or seeing if their mom needs anything.
Or even just
once she's gone, she's gone.
Disrespecting her, like disregard. I see so many people who just completely disregard their moms. Like, and I sit here and think about, y'all just do not know. Y'all just do not know. If I could, baby, if I could have her, Grandma Cable, she call me Grandma Cable off. I need to pay my cable bill. If I could pay another bill, girl, if I could let her use my car again, if I could, that people just don't know.
Yeah. I laugh and I joke. I said, if my mom could just cuss me out again one more time, because my mama was a cusser. She cussed you out about anything. And I think, and it's just being honest. I think this is why I am the way I am today. I'm so mild-mannered. And I try to avoid confrontation, because my mama was a heavy hitter. and she was just like always hollering, cussing, and it wasn't bad because you would come to her candy store, she would cuss you out, and you would be right back the next day talking about Miss Rucker.
Okay.
I need. She just was loud and a cuss, and I used to be like, I don't want to be like that.
Okay.
So I found myself changing into this person. Like, I don't want to be hollering and fussing all the time. Not realizing that I'm turning into my mama at 45.
Okay, I got you. And see, it was the opposite for us. I was always the one that was, baby, I'm talking about, baby, would cuss somebody out in a minute. I was the one that was, here comes Sean, just leave her alone. Don't say nothing to her because you already know. And my mama was the real quiet, mild-mannered. Like, it's okay. Let it go. It's not a big deal. And so now I found myself changing into her because now I don't want no smoke. I don't want no trouble. I just want to sell this wine and go on about my business. I don't want to argue with nobody. I don't want to fuss. But before I was like, who want it? like anybody can get it. So now I am definitely transitioning. I am definitely turning into my mom, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving it. It keeps a lot of stress away. So I am definitely turning into my mama for sure.
And I think that for me, because I'm becoming so vocal, because at one point I would be quiet, I wouldn't say anything, I was very passive. I think now that because I'm becoming so vocal as she was, I have begun to create those boundaries. Gotcha. And I see that's why she was that way.
She was that way. Because
she was that way.
Now you understand.
It kept a lot of people off of her, kept a lot of people out of her business.
That's it.
So I get it. I definitely get it.
It makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. It took me to 44 to get it, but I got it. I got the memo, baby.
No, you got it now.
I got
another one of those gifts. Another one of those.
One. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're gonna go to our next question. What helps you maintain your healthy connections in your friendships, relationships, family?
I think the thing that helps me maintain a healthy connection with the people that I'm connected to is that because I always try to be like 100% authentic. I always try to let people know that this is where I am today. So it is nothing personal against you. I'm not feeling a way against you. You didn't do anything to offend me. It's just right now I just need to kind of be by myself. I think if you keep those lines of communication open and letting people know exactly where you are, then the relationship it has to remain healthy because I've let you know where I am. You know what I mean? So I kind of think that's what keeps my connections to people pretty healthy because I'm always authentic in like where I am. You know, like in what kind of headspace I'm in at a particular time. And so they know, okay, Sean not mad at me. It's just she's just going through something right now. And I think that kind of helps. That helps a whole lot.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. For me, I think it's having such long friendships and close-knit friendships.
Okay.
I don't even have to speak.
They know. That's a blessing.
They know. They know if I don't answer the phone, oh, Crystal don't want to be bothered.
You are blessed.
They don't call me all times of night, all times of day. If I shut down, I shut down. Like, man, you have a mutual friend, Carlene. Me and Carlene can go for weeks without talking.
I love her.
And we can pick the phone up and it'll just be what it is. We picking the phone up because she knows I need time. I know she needs time. My best friend Trina, just like she's the same way. My best friend April, she's the same way. April will hit me up. Hey, I'm just checking on you, make sure you good. We ain't gotta talk every day, but she'll shoot me a text and I say I'm good, or I won't even respond. And if I don't respond, so be it.
Exactly.
She'll see me on social media. She know I'm all right.
Right. Exactly.
They ain't gonna bombard me. You know, so I think understanding your friends, knowing knowing their moves and
Mm-hmm.
how they move, I think that kind of keeps healthy connections open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes
So
sense. That makes
that
sense.
that's how it is. That's how it is for me. That's how it is for me. And I know some of my friends. I know some of them I have to check on every 2-3 days. I know which ones I don't have to check on.
Right. Okay. Because you all have that
So
relationship.
because we have that relationship and that respect is there.
Mm-hmm.
That respect is definitely there.
That's a blessing.
Absolutely.
That's a blessing.
Um, we're gonna move to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one moment that you can recall where you felt a sense of healing on your journey from grief?
A moment that I can recall that I felt a sense. Well, okay, yeah, I can say that. Um, so and this just happened. It's crazy. It happened like the other day. My mother would sweep the floor, and I would be so mad at her because she sweep the whole floor and just leave a little pile of trash right there, and she'd go off and start doing something else. I get it later. I get it later, and I would go right and just almost kick it over. Now we got to sweep the floor all over again. But this was her thing. She would sweep and leave like this little pile right here, and I'm like, Mom, why you just won't get it up? Like anyway, and it's crazy because I found myself doing the same thing now. The other day,
Mm.
I swept the floor, and I sat down on the couch and I looked over and it was a little pile of dust from everything I had swept up on the floor. And I sat there and I looked at the little pile. And when I say boo-hoo down crying, like uncontrollably, like I could not get myself together because I'm looking at this little pile of trash in the floor. And it just brought back so many memories. It just brought back me and her fussing about her getting a little trash up out the floor. So under normal circumstances, I would just kind of like hurry up, wipe my face, get up, girl, get yourself together, and move on to the next thing. But this day, I just allowed myself just to come, just sit there, and I cried a while. By the time I finished, I had the puffy eyes going and everything. But I was like, I need to just sit in this. And when I allowed myself to just feel all of that, it went so much deeper than just the trash in the floor. I started having all type of memories of her cooking Salisbury steak and mashed potatoes. Like
Mm.
everything was like a whirlwind of emotions. And I just sat there and allowed myself to just feel it. And when I did, after that moment, I felt so much better. Like I felt like, okay, I can do this. This healing thing, it hurts, but I can definitely finally see the other side of it. So I think when I allow myself to just feel those emotions instead of just brushing them off to the side and just keep going, I think it catapults me further into seeing like the other side of this thing. Like, okay, you really can do this. So I think that's the thing that I learned, like in that moment.
And so that was going to be my next question. Like, did you embrace it? So
I
you
did.
definitely did embrace it. You definitely did embrace the moment
I
because you
did.
sat with it. You
Mm-hmm.
let the tears flow. You
Mm-hmm.
let your feelings do what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a great space to be in because we never know how much we need to release.
Exactly.
And that was a moment of release and healing.
It was. And in retrospect,
Definitely.
I see that now. I definitely can see that now. Another gift.
That's That's your other gift. All right, now baby, we unwrapping. We
We are
unwrapping
rapping some
tonight,
stuff.
huh?
Right.
We unwrapping. Um,
Absolutely.
healing for me, um, healing for me comes often. Um, but I can recall with my grandmother. I can recall. I can start with my mama.
Mm-hmm.
I think healing for me started at her funeral. Or pretty much before her funeral because I was able to make sure I did the funeral. I did the obituaries. I pretty much did everything. I didn't want the funeral home or the printer doing anything. I just want to send y'all this stuff and y'all print it like I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then getting up at her funeral and leading with praise and worship. that was healing for me.
Wow.
Like my mother, I talk often about my mother used to be on drugs.
Okay.
And I realized at her funeral, I could have been burying my mom, and my mom could have still been an addict. But she wasn't.
She was.
She was saved. I was saved. My kids were saved. And in that moment, I realized I'm going to see her again.
Again.
She even though she didn't get her healing on this side, she got her healing on the other side. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. And that for me started my healing with grief. On top of I had already me and her made a pact. She was like, whatever God say, that's what we're gonna roll with. And I had been that way since she found out she had 6 months to live. So I think that also helped me too along the way. But yeah, at her funeral, being able to worship at her funeral, seeing how she was loved and celebrated at her funeral, um, and just the atmosphere. It was so peaceful. Like I know my mom made it in.
Okay.
And for this I am thankful.
Okay.
And I can begin to heal. Because that's what we're born to die. Now, the question is, when you die, where you going?
Where you going? That's right.
That's the question. And what does your relationship look like?
Exactly. Now, so do you think because your mom was diagnosed, and that you had like some time before she actually transitioned, that kind of helped? Did that kind of help you?
It did.
Like get to a place of acceptance. Okay.
It did.
And I kind of figured as much. And see, on my side, it was completely different. I couldn't, I didn't have any type of preparation time. You know what I mean? So I think that's what the difference is with me.
And see, I can share with you, like my mom, I was prepped for. My grandmother, I was prepped for. My little sister passed. She had been sick pretty much her whole life. Didn't know it was coming, but it came. So to me, it was expected.
Okay.
My best friend died. Totally unexpected. That rocked my world.
Okay.
I could not have imagined that I would talk to her on my 44th birthday for the last time, and she would be dead 2-3 days later. Couldn't imagine that. So dealing with grief from her, because it was unexpected, was like a Mack truck had hit me. And then I see that I cried so hard. And I don't really think I cried at my mother's funeral. I don't think I cried at my grandmother's funeral. If I did, it probably was 2 or 3 tears because it was with my soul. When my friend died, that wasn't well with me.
See,
that took a piece of
the process is different. Yes,
the process is very different. Process is very different. It just did something to me. It impacted me in such a way that I shut down. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep because this was not supposed to happen.
It wasn't supposed to happen.
I always tell people, unexpected death for me, that's gonna knock me off my feet. But if it's expected, I can deal with it. I can live with it. I can live with it. And I can recall she died in November. They had her funeral in January, if I'm not mistaken. And she was cremated. I cried like a baby at that funeral, like she had just died that day. Because all over again, I was going through the grief cycle. So now I got to process. I have to process your death. You're 40-something years old with 2 children. It's not supposed to be this way.
It's not supposed to be this way. I get it. I went through that same thing. It just feel like it just was not supposed to happen.
It's not supposed to be this way.
Not supposed to be
this way. It's not supposed to be this way. So yeah, like I can't I'm gonna be honest, I'm having a hard time with her death. Because that is the person, she's the person that we don't have to talk. We could talk every 2-3 months. She lived in Milwaukee. When I would go to Milwaukee, I just, hey, I'm here. Show up. Then she moved out of town further away, and we would talk maybe every 2-3 weeks. But if there was an issue with me, if there was an issue with her, that was the person that I can call. And she wouldn't judge me.
That's right. See,
I can drop all the facade, the mask, the everything. I could call her.
That's it.
I can call her.
And you don't have those. You don't find those people often.
You don't find those people often. You don't find those people often. So yeah, I can honestly say I am having a hard time with her death. Because it was unexpected. But those that I was able to process, it's okay. Now the moment of healing for my grandmother, I got that when I closed her casket. The mortician let me close the casket, and just knowing that I did what I was supposed to do as a granddaughter, that was enough for me. I was at peace. Now I can heal.
And I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. And like I said, when my mother passed away, I was actually in the funeral business when my mother passed away. So it was like, it was almost like I had done it so many times before, but it's a completely different dynamic when it's your mom. So I was able to do everything. I closed the casket down, but I had no peace in that. I mean, I was the one that took care of my mother financially. I had insurance. I did everything. I was the one that did everything. Put my mother away beautifully. I mean, so I know as a daughter, even in my logical mind, I knew I did everything I was supposed to do in life and now in death. And I would think that after it was over, went to the cemetery, put in a beautiful vault. I mean, everything. I was like, when I walked away, I was like, Mom, I did what I was supposed to do. But I still found no peace in that, because everything in me is still saying, I'm walking away from this cemetery and I'm leaving my mama here. So there was no peace in that for me. I was in so much turmoil for a long time, and I just could not find peace, because everything in me, I just wanted my mama. I didn't care about being able to do this for her and making sure she was okay. I didn't care about none of that. I just wanted my mama. Girl, I could care less. I just wanted my mama.
Definitely, yeah. I understand that. I understand that. I can recall, because I think up close and personal for me, TT's mother was the first mother whose funeral I went to.
Miss Pam.
And I was like, I was like, I did judge TT. I judged her. Because TT fell all out. I'm like, TT, yes.
And but I never understood it. Her mother and my mother's funeral was in like days of each other. So Damian lost both of his the day my mother passed one day. 2 days later is when TT's mother went into a coma. So actually she came to my mother's funeral with her mother in a coma, and she took her mother off the ventilator the next day. So Damian, her son, lost, because her son is my brother's son.
Wow.
So Damian lost both of his grandmothers within a week.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to attend her mother's funeral because I had just left my mom. Yeah.
Yeah, I can recall. I was like, is it that serious? And then I realized it's that serious until you sit on that row. Until you sit on that row.
Yeah.
Until you sit on that roll. Now
Seat.
So here's another question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
You've been through a lot. What are you doing to take care of yourself as far as self-care, if any?
I don't have a lot of time to take care of myself. And I know I have to do better about prioritizing myself, my mental health, my healing journey. But whenever I do feel myself just getting completely overwhelmed, the only thing that tends to soothe me is just spending time with God. Like, I have to just shut everything out, phones off, lights off, candles, worship. That is the only thing in this time in my life that I find any type of peace in. I go get massages, of course, every now and again. When I get my hair washed, I get to get my scalp massage, all that stuff. That's fine and cool. And that does good for my physical body. It helps me to feel better. But there are times when my soul needs to be soothed, or my mind just needs to be at ease. And the only place I find that kind of peace is when I spend a long time with Christ. That's the only time. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. I look at TT talking about you judged me. I did, friend. I did judge you because I didn't know.
Oh, there she is. I see it.
I didn't know, friend. And then I had found out. So that's why I always tell people now, until you sit on that first row or that second row, don't you be judging these people.
Exactly.
Because what child? That's a whole nother ball game, baby.
Whole different
yes,
animal.
I did judge you, sis. Don't charge it to me, though. I still love you.
Right. We still love you.
But yeah, for me, self-care. I journal. I journal, of course. I take baths and Countess D Pearl bath teas. I soak my feet.
I love. Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, self-care has become. I'm a creative, so I write, I create digital journals. I work on logos. I do anything that causes my mind to be free and creative, and that helps me.
Okay.
That really helps me. I, like I mentioned earlier, another form of self-care, which I think is self-care for me, is mental health therapy.
Okay.
I have to go. I have to. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have to go, because if I did not go to mental health therapy, I would be running around here cuckoo. Y'all would be trying to put me up in Mount Sinai somewhere on the 5th floor.
Wow.
So yeah, mental health therapy is definitely a great self-care regimen for me.
Okay.
It helps me to manage my emotional ups and downs of grief.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps me to, because I am doing the work of a grief coach. I take so much in. I have to be able to go somewhere to release that.
You have an out. Have to have an outlet.
I have to have an outlet,
mm-hmm.
and I have to be able to have an outlet for people that pour into me, and people that I pour into.
Okay.
Because grief coaching sometimes can be draining, because it causes me to my emotions override sometimes, and I deal with them emotionally sometimes instead of professionally.
Okay.
So that's why mental health therapy for me is much needed right now in self-care.
Okay.
But Latonya said, Natonya, she said, leave them first row folks alone. We are not okay. And we not, because I'm a first row person too.
I'm definitely a first row folk. Trust me.
We not. Child. Let's see if I got something else for you tonight. it's the fall season, so we're about to hit the holiday season. How do you find yourself coping during the holidays?
The holiday season is extremely hard for me. My mother passed away the beginning of November. So, then, like I said, I just lost my little brother last year in December. So coming up to December is going to be the 1 year anniversary of him passing away. So, like I said, the beginning of November. So I'm still I go through, because my mother loved Thanksgiving. So it's like getting through Thanksgiving without her. And my little brother, like I said, he started asking the 1st of November when I'm cooking, like,
wow.
What you cooking? I'll be over there. So it's like that in itself is hard for me. Like not having him this year and dealing with the 1st year anniversary of his death. It's like I'm definitely not looking forward to the holidays. My mother she loved Christmas time. So this was like her time of year. So it's always hard for me. And so I don't think I've come up with a way to cope with the holidays. I just kind of try to get through them as best I can. I don't have like a particular regimen or anything or plan that I use to get through Thanksgiving or to get through Christmas. It's just one of those things where I gotta get through it. Eventually I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I can do this, but I ain't gonna lie, it's 6 years from my mother and I still ain't there. It's still
Definitely
rough.
understand. Do you find yourself explaining to people why you can't be so involved on the holidays?
I think I used to, but now it's at a point where I think I've I've solidified that with everybody, so they kind of know like this is just really not a good time for her. So I don't think I have to go into like explaining mode or anything anymore. People know that I'm usually pretty much off to myself, during the holidays or something like that. So I don't think I have to explain anymore. But I
Interesting.
want to get to the point where I happily celebrate Thanksgiving. I want to happily celebrate Christmas. I want to get to that point, but I just ain't there yet.
And so here's what I say. You say you want to get to that point. I say just do it. I say wake up with the mindset of this is what I'm going to do and go through it. And if you can't continue, at least you made a choice to try and attempt to have a regular, normal holiday. Because I tell everybody the holidays for me is the pit. I used to decorate for every holiday. I mean, St. Patrick's Day and all. I would decorate. Me and my mother would go. We would find decorations, and she would say, "Go upstairs and decorate your table," because I love to decorate my dining room table. Decorate your table. Call me when it's done. I love Thanksgiving. I'm turkeys everywhere. Christmas. I love decorating. And I found myself in a place where I didn't want to do it anymore, especially when my grandfather died. When my grandfather died, he was a big part of my life. I would get live trees every year for Christmas, and I would leave them up. I would leave them up so long, right? And don't judge me. Don't judge me. So my best friend Tawanda, my sister, her birthday is August the 24th. And we would normally do something at my house in August. I would leave that Christmas tree up to maybe 2 or 3 weeks before her birthday. And my grandfather would have to come to my house with the electric saw and cut the tree down piece by piece. Girl, it would be pines everywhere because they was dry, it was dead. Yes. But my tree was still pretty. These trees still pretty.
Wow.
So Christmas holidays, Christmas is my favorite holiday. They are big for me. So I find myself, I get a lot of what's wrong with you, because on the holidays, I'm surrounded by people who have both their parents. So they really don't know how to take me on the holidays. They just they don't know how to they just don't. And it's okay because they've never experienced it.
Right.
But I
Right.
find myself pushing myself on the holidays to cook, to clean.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
last year I bought a new tree, a live tree. So I find myself getting back into the mojo. But what I realized is this year I ain't doing it. I'm gonna take some time for me, and I'm going to, because I have a new grandbaby, I'm gonna center my holidays this year around my grandbaby.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
pour into him. I'm gonna pour into him, pour into my daughter, pour into my son.
Okay.
Latch on to some new, some new. We're gonna do something new this year.
Something new.
Uh, we're gonna do something new. We're
I
gonna create new
understand.
memories. I'm gonna try to get away from the old and attempt to do something new. Because if I do something new, that'll probably change my feelings towards the holidays.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
just
see,
like
then
I
you
told
have a
you,
grandbaby. Like you have a grandbaby. You have, your daughter, your son. I'm like now I'm home by myself. My daughter just moved out. My sister lives in Michigan. So it's like I don't. It's just me here. You know what I mean? So it's like what else? What I'm supposed to do? And I
that's
think that's where I'm at with the like what and like I said, the dynamic is just completely different for me
it's
this year.
different.
It's
It's
different.
definitely different. And then though those are the times when we're supposed to, if we're in this space, latch on to our friends
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in those spaces.
You're right. You're right.
Um, if you're mentally available on those holidays, because sometimes you're not
Mm-hmm.
mentally available.
Right. Right.
So if you have people that you can spend those days with,
Yeah.
um, I think you should. I think you
Okay.
should, and
That's
that's why one of my dreams is to, and I don't know if I spoke to you about this, but one of my dreams is having a non-for-profit organization
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
called Orphan University, which will be for people like us, and it will be centered around relationship. People that lost their moms, their dads, they don't have anything to do on the holidays. They need someone to talk to on an everyday basis. I want a
Yeah.
community center where they can come and they can be comfortable and they'll be loved and they'll have that relationship kinship. That's my
Exactly.
biggest goal. That's what I want my legacy to be,
That would
because
be
so
amazing.
many people don't have that.
They don't have it.
Don't have that, and people don't understand that when we lose that, it's no more. So now what? And we're stuck in the now what for so long, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't have anybody to latch on to. So I want to be that space or that person that you can come and say, hey, I met this lady, Crystal Rucker. She has this
Mm-hmm.
foundation and she has a bunch of people that will love on you, care about you. And they've walked my journey. And I feel
Tina,
safe there.
that would be
I feel
amazing.
safe there.
That would be amazing. That would
So
be absolutely amazing. I'm gonna definitely pray. I'm okay. That's on my prayer list for you, girl. We gonna add that to the prayer list. I'm gonna talk to God about that for you, girl.
girl, please talk to God. Let me tell you something. I got a friend on here, LaShawn M. Hoffman. And let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something. I'm not lying. This man say every time I need something, or he wants something done for me, he say, let me go whisper to God. Some stuff be good, some stuff be bad.
Right.
And when he go whisper to God, it be happening, honey.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Sean. So yeah, girl. So we done concluded this episode 6 of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief with our guest, LaShonda Edwards,
I
owner
appreciate you.
of Legacy Libations.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the offer. I'm glad I decided to jump on, and I appreciate your friendship. Just even outside of the podcast, just the way that you and I have connected, the support you've given me, not only like I said with my wine company, but even introducing me to Grief Share. I am blessed to have you, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the
Don't
connection.
make don't make me cry. I've been holding these tears back all night, trying not to cry. I keep sniffing because I'm trying not to cry. Don't
I
do that to
am.
me. Don't do that to
I
me.
am
I
so grateful for
appreciate you as well. And I was trying to think. I was like, where I meet her at?
right. Did we
I
meet
don't
here?
even remember.
I think we met here on Facebook, I think. Did we meet
Girl,
on? Because I
I
think
don't
you
even
started
know.
buying wine from me. When you started buying wine from me, I think that's how we connected.
Girl, I don't even know. I just was like, I said that today. I was like, so when I introduced her, how much I met her? Because I don't even remember how I met her.
I
I
don't
just know I
remember
met her,
either.
and she's my life now. That's all I know.
That's all that
And
matters.
she would drop wine off and leave it on my porch, and I appreciate it.
That's all that matters. We connected now, so hey.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate you for joining us tonight. And like you said, you was a bit uncertain about coming on today. I am glad that you came on. I am so proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
are so courageous. I applaud you in your grief journey. I am here for you. I pray for you daily. I'm your sis. And you know I got you.
I appreciate you, Queen.
I
Thank you so much.
thank you. I don't know what Tasha is.
Right. She probably watching.
Hopefully.
She probably watching on Facebook.
I hope she's watching. But she
Yeah.
appreciates you as well. My co-host Tasha, Evangelist Tasha Shields. We thank you for coming on Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. Tonight, I'm not going to leave you with any long notes about what to do, when to do, how to do. All I'm going to say is feel how you're feeling, whatever that is. Don't let nobody tell you how to grieve because that's your own unique journey. Find you one or two self-coping mechanism skills, self-care coping mechanism skills that can help you along the way. Don't bombard yourself. And most importantly, journal.
Okay.
Journaling is very important. Get those thoughts out. Get those thoughts out. Get you some pen and paper. And let me tell y'all something. I got this digital journal. It's a grief journal. If you want it, you can have it today for free, tomorrow for free. Just inbox me and let me know. Hit me up on my page at Crystal Countess D. Pearl Rucker. Let me know that you want the grief journal. It's compatible with your iPad for good notes and your Samsung tablet. So it's available.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. We're getting ready to close. No problem. We're getting ready to close out tonight's episode. And as I said before, remember that your journey is unique and your emotions are valid. Healing is a process, and you are not alone on this path. As I always close and say, if there was no grief, there will be no love. If there is no love, there will be no grief. Thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. We appreciate you. Have an amazing night.
You as well, hon. Thank you.
Thank you.